So for example number 3, we're going to talk about something called a geometric mean. So a geometric mean is basically if I have a proportion a over x is equal to x over b. To solve this, then I would cross multiply, which would give me x squared, which equals a times b, right? Because it'll be x times x. If I want to solve for x, what I would do is take the square root of both sides, and that would mean x is equal to the square root of a b. It's not really a theorem. This is more of a concept of the geometric mean. Doesn't mean a whole lot now, but it will, like if you're going to be a mathematician, like a math teacher or a math major in college, they'll talk about that quite a bit, actually. So we're asked to find, so for example number 3, it says find the geometric mean of 24 and 48. So what we're going to do in this scenario, we're going to let a equal 24 and b equal 48. So what does that mean? That means that x squared would be equal to a times b, or x squared would be equal to 24 times 48. Right? Now, the next step will be is to take the square root of this whole thing. So then, when I take the square root of a square, the square root is the inverse operation of the square. So this is the square, and this line right here is the square root. And they're inverse operations, so they undo each other. So that means if I square something and I undo it, I'm just left with the base. On a side note, 3 squared equals 9. The square root of 9 equals 3. But you could think of it as 3 squared. When you take the square root of a perfect square, you're just going to be left with the base. So it has to be written in exponent notation while it's under the radical for the square root. Alright, so now what we can do, one of the properties that we could do here is we could break this down into squares so we could pull stuff out. Well, I happen to know for a fact that the square root of 24 times 48, but isn't 48 working from home? So isn't 48 another side note? 48 is actually equal to 24 times 2. So rather than writing 44 down, I'm going to write, or 48 down, I'm going to write down 24 times 2, right? In other words, 24 times 2 is the same as 48. Now, what's 24 times 24? It's actually 24 squared times 2. One more property of square roots, if you don't remember, is that I could say 24 squared and then take the square root of that times the square root of 2. Now, when I have the square root of a square, they undo each other, and I'm left with just the base. And that is our final simplified answer.